Hello everybody. In this video we are going to discuss a very important and very interesting topic, what is artificial neural network, right? So in this current scenario, you must have heard this thing artificial intelligence again and again, and whenever you start studying artificial intelligence, so these neural networks comes into the picture, right? So what exactly is a neural network? We will try to see this thing in a very short video, right? So, what is a neural network? So, first of all, what we are trying to do in artificial intelligence, what we are trying to do, we are trying to mimic humans, right? Why we are trying to mimic humans? Because we think that we are the most intelligent, right? So, we try to find out, okay, can we mimic the behavior of humans? Now, if you think about humans, what is the most important part which makes us intelligent? So I think everybody knows that's our brain, right? So it means that if we want to mimic humans, it's good to start with the knowledge of how our brain works, right? So let us see how our brain works. So this is not like this is in the simplest form I'm telling you. So for example, so you look at somebody and the person suppose is happy, okay, and there is another person who is sad, right? So looking at two faces, you can make out that okay, this person is happy and this person here is sad. So now the question is, how is it possible for your brain to distinguish between these two faces? So what happens is, right, so looking at this particular face, you get some signals, right? So there are signals, different kind of inputs, right? You may be looking at their eyes or lips or nose or facial expression, something, right? So signals may be the shape of eyes, right, from the nose, from lips, or some expressions. There may be so many things, right? Or there may be some factor from the ambience, right? So where you are, you expect that okay, this person is going to be happy, something like that. So all these inputs, they are going to your eyes, right? They are received by your eyes. How they are received by your eyes? You have neurons there, right? So what are neurons? Okay, so neurons are basically, they are cells. So they have basically they have a cell body which has a nucleus and all those things. Then they have receivers, right? So they have these branches which are called receivers, which will receive these signals. We call them as dendrites. Okay, so these ends, right, these ends, they will receive your signal. What are your signals? Your signals are here. You are looking at the ambience, you are looking at the shape of the person's eyes, then you are looking at the shape of the nose, then you are looking at the shape of the lips, then you are looking at the expressions on his or her face, right? All those signals, they are fed into here in your dendrites, right? So this is the neuron. Now what it does, this is the neuron at the skin of your eye, right? And then there is a branch. All these are dendrites are receiver. Then there is a longer branch which is called axon. This is transmitter. It acts as a transmitter. So what it does, this long axon, which is a kind of transmitter, it has at the end some branches, okay, and these branches, they are called the synaptic terminals. They pass this information to the next neuron. So there is another neuron, this is the receiver of that neuron, right? And then and so on. So the axon will pass the information to the next neuron, and so on, and like this the information is going to reach to your brain. So that's interesting. So what we are doing here, we look at person's face. Okay, you look at person's face and then you get some signals and your eyes receive them, and the neurons at the skin of your eye, right, at the surface, they will receive these signals, and then they pass this signal to another neuron, and then so on, right? And ultimately the signal reaches your brain, right? And also apart from these signals, the neuron will also do some kind of job on its own, right, from the past experience or something like that, to give this final output to the next neuron, right? Fine. So and similarly, when you look at this person of a like face of a sad person, then you will have different signals, right? All these signals will change, right? For example, the shape of eyes will change, nose shape will change, lips shape will change, and the expressions will be different, and maybe ambience is also different, right? So this is how the brain is processing. Now we want to make a mathematical brain a model of this thing, which we just saw, and it's very simple, right? So what is this? Is the biological neuron, and let us see what is an artificial neuron. So what is an artificial neuron? We say that you have, for example, we have a machine where we have some inputs. So these are the inputs. Okay, let us call them as x1, x2, x3, and so on, xn, because we love numbers, right? So these are our inputs, and this is the this you can treat as your neuron, right? So neuron, and then there is an output, right? There can be more than one output also, but this is how it is, right? Okay, so now we can see that we have very closely mapped or modeled this thing, right? Now the problem is we want to see how we can write our output in terms of inputs. So basically, when you look at a person's face, the expressions on his face are more important than what is the ambience in deciding in deciding whether that person is happy or sad, right? So that means that different signals have different weightage. So what we do, we say that these signals are coming to our neuron with different weights w1, w2, w3, and wn. So what we are going to do, so when the signals come to the neuron, it first take the weighted sum. So it does w1 x1 plus w2 x2 plus so on wn xn, right? So basically we are doing here wi xi I from 1 to n, right? Now then I told you that not only these signals, you also use some of your intelligence, like maybe neurons are doing something else from the past experience or something like that. So that job will be done by a non-linear function. Non-linear function, we call it as activation function. So what is this function? So apart from your signals, you are using some other knowledge. So that is from the activation function, right? So this output which you get, which is the weighted sum, will be passed to this non-linear function. Let me call it as f. So whatever will be the output after passing through f, so that is f of summation I from 1 to n wi xi. That is going to be the output for this particular neuron. So we say that artificial neuron is this thing, this whole unit, where we have inputs, and then we have weights, and then we take the average sum, like, or weighted sum, and then we pass it to another function which is non-linear in nature. Okay, and then we get our output. So this is just like a human brain, but obviously because we are choosing very simple functions like weighted sum here and some non-linear function here, so we are far away from exactly modeling what are neurons inside our body doing, right? But still we are doing a pretty good job, right? So I hope you understood what is a neuron, artificial neuron, right? It's so simple model, right? And then what is artificial neuron network? Artificial neural network. So that is basically we will make a network of these neurons. For example, suppose I have something like this. So these are the neurons, these are my inputs. So we can just make a neuron like which just takes x1 and brings it out. Okay, so we call them as input neurons, right? So they are basically identity functions. So you are giving x2 here, x2 here, and then you are giving x3 here, and you are getting x3 here, right? And then maybe you have some neurons here which are having a sum function and a new nonlinear function f, g, h, right? So basically what you can do, you can uh, make a network like this. For example, different signals are passing to different neurons and so on. So that's a artificial neural network, right? So this is the simplest thing. This is not at all hard. It's just this particular maths, right? So you don't need much maths. So now the question is, what is this activation function? So in this video I just introduced you what is a neuron, and then we saw what is an artificial neuron. So we saw what is a biological neuron, and then we saw what is an artificial neuron, and then we saw what is an artificial neural network, but in the simplest form. So we'll be discussing all these things in details. Okay, thank you for watching. Please share this video and subscribe to this channel. Thank you.